To today's update. In today's update of the Russian-Ukrainian war, we are going to be discussing the things happening on the ground, as well as some very important news from the United States and the United Kingdom. First, let's start off with Avdiivka, where the Russian offensive seems to have stalled, at least for the moment. We see that the Russians are blocked and stalled at these areas, these villages, Berdichi, Orivka, and this village over here. So we did see this video, and I'm going to blur it out on YouTube because YouTube would not approve of this content, of Russian assault group. One man was down by the grenade of the drone, and he likely probably was wounded, or he could have been killed. But this thing was geolocated over here, so likely the Russians have managed to take all this territory from the Ukrainians. This just from the geolocations. Likely the Russians would not be mulching over here if they did not manage to secure all this. So the Russians all pushing in this settlement. We also got geolocated footage of a Russian drone attack deep behind the Russian lines, but as you can see, this is just an abandoned Ukrainian vehicle that was probably abandoned here a couple of days ago, even a few weeks ago, and they just went to finish it off. Now in Orivka, over here, we see that the Russians all pretty much stalled at this area, hence the Ukrainian drone attacks and HIMARS strikes are really only happening here. As you can see, this building, HIMARS strike hits it, and whoever's in there, whatever in there, is completely destroyed. Now we're moving to this drone attack where you see the Ukrainian drone hovering over. You see some Russian soldiers, and those Russian soldiers are met by grenades, and they are either killed or wounded, as you can see from that blast. This is another Ukrainian drone attack against a vehicle with men on it. As you can see, as this drone approaches the vehicle, you see all these men up on top of the vehicle riding on, and likely a lot of those men were killed if the vehicle managed to hit exactly where the men were. Of course, these videos are blurred out on YouTube, so if you want the uncensored version, check my Rumble channel, link is in the description. Now moving on to Berdichi. The Ukrainians did do this drone footage of just a massive massacre of Russian troops. As you can see, that man's trying to fight off the drone with a gun, and that man was quickly subdued by the gun. He is KIA, there's no doubt about it. And throughout this whole entire video, there's just a bunch of killed Russian soldiers by these Ukrainian drones. At least 13 Russian soldiers were killed by these Ukrainian drones, and it's really bad attack for the Russians. As you can see, there's a compilation, and it was all geolocated in this one area. I'm not going to go through the whole entire video because it's like 2 minutes long, and that's just kind of, I don't want to do that. However, if you want to go on Military Summary Channel's map, you can find that video there. So from that video alone, it looks like the Russians were able to advance from Stepove and at least capture this area. Obviously, it's going to be contested. Berdichi is very contested area. Also, you see a Russian attack over here where 3 Russian soldiers meet up with 3 Ukrainian soldiers, and they're fighting. It's a Ukrainian victory, and the Russians take the L in this one, and the Russians lose around 5 troops to 6-7 troops because of that attack. So again, that means the Russians would have at least had to push from this area and have this place under their complete control. Now, of course, there's going to be attacks and such. Okay, so now moving on to areas around Avdiivka, we see this Ukrainian drone strike of this vehicle. Don't know what's in this vehicle, but that explosion probably means there's some type of ammo, some type of munition that was in that vehicle that, when hit by the drone, caused that type of explosion. Also, the Russians continue to attack Novomikhaivka. However, we got no updates of advancements or Ukrainian withdrawing since then. Now, that's basically all the major news going on in Ukraine. Also, President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, visited Turkey. And as you can see, he's speaking at a port where 2 Ukrainian corvettes are being built. So this is President Zelensky just speaking. Another thing, which is probably the biggest news of today, is the fact that the United States and the United Kingdom have both warned their civilians. Their embassies in Moscow have warned their civilians of a major terrorist attack that's going to take place, that could take place in the next 48 hours. Now, this could just be made up by them, but the fact that they're warning their civilians of it probably means there's something major going on. It could be Ukraine trying to do something that the Americans and Brits don't want them to do, and they are doing it anyway, so they're warning their civilian population of it. Or it could be a terrorist attack from anywhere else. we're just gonna have to see. This weekend could end up being very, very, very bloody for Russia, or it could just end up being a normal weekend, and really it was nothing. So that's the end of today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Rumble. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.